Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will arrive in India today for a 4-day visit, the first by an Israeli Prime Minister in about 15 years. Netanyahu will hold his first official meeting with the External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also host a dinner in honour of the Israeli Prime Minister. And the Israeli Prime Minister will also be accompanied by a 130-member delegation comprising of cyber, agriculture as well as defence sectors. India is Israel's biggest arms market, buying around $1 billion worth of weapons every year. Israel's state-owned defence contractors Rafael announced on January 3rd that India had cancelled a $500 million order to buy its Spike in anti-tank guided missiles. According to reports, India would instead opt for homemade anti-tank missiles. Despite the cancellation of the missile deal, India's Defence Ministry said that this month it had cleared a plan worth $72 million to buy 131 Barak surface-to-air missiles built by Rafael. And the two countries have grown closer since Narendra Modi became Indian Prime Minister back in the year 2014. They widened commercial cooperation beyond their long-standing defence ties. In July last year, Narendra Modi became the first Prime Minister from India to visit Israel in the last 70 years. Deals for gas and oil cooperation, cyber security as well as agricultural projects are on the cards. In an exclusive interview to WION, senior correspondent Ramesh Ramachandra and Israeli ambassador to India Daniel Carmon said that India and Israel share a rich and strong relationship. Listen in.
I have with me Ambassador Daniel Carmon, Israel's ambassador to India, to talk about Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to India. Ambassador Carmon, thank you for speaking to me. May I begin by asking you, in terms of optics, have the cancellation of the Spike anti-tank missile or India's vote for the UNGA resolution come as a disappointment to Israel? Were you surprised at all by the decisions? And also, has Israel put those developments behind it ahead of the visit?
I would not want to comment specifically on those areas that you mentioned, because the relationship, and this will be reflected during the Prime Minister's visit, as all our relationship are reflected in the last few years, by the fact that the relationship are larger than specific events. I don't want to mention specifically the cancellation of the Spike, because I would just tell you that there are processes that have take their time. What will be reflected during this visit is the fact that those relations are rich. They are all-weather relation. It's an all-weather relationship. Sometimes we have and we can speak, and we do speak all the time. We have a wonderful relationship on the governmental level. But I would like to add an ingredient that needs strengthening, and it will be strengthened, which is the involvement of the business community in these relations and the people-to-people connect. The people who will be accompanying Prime Minister Netanyahu in his visit, the huge business delegation, the richness of the diversity of the disciplines that they will represent will show that India and Israel are going on a very strong path of strengthening relations. While strengthening the governmental relations, they will also bring the private sector. And the we usually are talking about tourism, about connectivity, about the need to know each other even more. All of this will be reflected, and you will see it at the end of the visit.
And very quickly, in terms of India's UNGA vote, were you at all taken by surprise by the way India voted?
I really don't want to go into surprise or not surprise. Of course, as we have not invented this. When there is a vote on something that is important and crucial, you would like all the international community to vote with you. This was an important vote. I don't want to ignore it or to evade talking about it, but I do want to say that our relationship is much stronger, notwithstanding the fact that we will continue to ask the international community, and especially our friends, to be voting with Israel on any matter.
Ambassador, talking specifically about Prime Minister's forthcoming visit to India, what might be the biggest takeaways from the visit in terms of defense cooperation or collaboration, counter-terrorism cooperation, cyber security, and also in terms of Bollywood outreach that Israel is making out to the Indian film industry?
The big takeaway, as you say, is the strengthening of channels of making what is said between governments into something operational. So the result is, by the fact that there is an important visit, the result is the fact that we are going to flag innovation at the top of the realm of what we will be talking about, and by the fact that you will see more and more Israeli business in India and Indian business in Israel, and the interconnectivity will not only be measured by quantity of the people who visit each other, and the numbers are growing, ever growing, but by the results. And one will bring the other, and the importance of those leaders' visit, presidential visit of Prime Minister Modi, and now the such expected visit by Prime Minister Modi will be the proof in the pudding.
In conclusion, Ambassador, there's a lot of talk about the so-called personal chemistry between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Netanyahu. Do you see that chemistry evolve going forward in a positive direction?
It is. I've seen this morning a huge poster that was it's not a poster, it's a canvas of the photo of both prime ministers on the beach when they were experimenting the Gal mobile desalinating and water purifying vehicle. Minutes later, I said goodbye to the vehicle because we have a vehicle that came here a couple of days ago, and it will be it will be gifted to Prime Minister Modi. We just took it out of the customs yesterday. We are sending it to Gujarat, and I think this will be a wonderful continuity of what started on the beach near Tel Aviv.
On that one, Ambassador, thank you so much for speaking to me. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. That was Ambassador Daniel Carmon of Israel talking to me about the forthcoming visit of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran in New Delhi for WION.